Morning, everybody. It's Friday the 13th. There's a lot I can say about that. We're talking about, things esoteric, occultic, and so on in terms of divination. So, there's a lot of different writings as to where that came about. But the one that I see that is most consistent is about Jacques de Molay, who was burned at the stake. He was the head of the Knights Templar in 13 something or whatever, and he echoed a curse unto his executioners, and those curses came true for both the king of France and I believe of England at that time. Or perhaps it was the Catholic Church. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was the Catholic Church. I should have brushed up on the history. I just don't have all my books available to me right now. So I'm functioning purely on memory. And there's a lot up there, but it's all scattered about. So forgive me. But anyways, because of the fact that Jacques Molay was presumably wrongly accused of, dark practices, I'll just say that. Worshipping dark gods and all that kind of stuff, and the Knights Templar become more powerful than any single nation at that time. They had one of the greatest fleets. They started the financial system that we still use and incorporate today. That's debatable whether you think it's good or bad. Everything that might have started off good at one point has been perverted and taken over by unscrupulous men, in my opinion. But be that as it may, that's why a lot of times there's no 13th floor in some high rises. Friday the 13th is presumed to be, bad luck, all that kind of stuff. Again, it stems mostly from what I can tell from, that particular incident. The burning alive of the leader of the Knights Templar. Jacques de Molay. Is it Jacques de Molay? See, now I'm not even sure about that. Well, I know they have a group for young men that's called the de Molays, but I don't know. I think President Clinton was a member of that, so that's another story. Anyway, let's go ahead and look at some of the energy and so on from this week. Well, we saw the gods and goddesses show up many times this week. In fact, we had brother and sister of the Vanir, both Frey and Freyr, the twins. They're the ones that give us the abundance, fertility, sexuality, all that good stuff that's out there. You know what I mean? So we saw that echoed in both the rune of Fehu and Ingwas. Different families, different Aets in terms of the runic division and so on, the three different families, groups, or Aets. But they are associated in terms of brother and sister. Freya was married to Odin to more or less, that's something that's been passed down generationally in terms of you want to make peace with your enemy and so on, give them your daughter. Or take their daughter for your son, or whatever the case may be. You're mixing the tribes together. That means there's less of a chance, not always, didn't always work, but less of a chance you're going to go ahead and continue your hostilities with that particular other country. Well, the Vanir and the Aesir gods were at war for some time. They finally got wore out from that war, and again, the goddess Freya married Odin as part of that truce and so on. And as far as I know, they've been working together more or less ever since. So, all right. And that's the mythology behind that. And we have both of them showing up multiple times this week. We had Fehu show up twice in one reading alone. That's very, very unusual. So, and of course, Ingwas showed up twice over the week. So, now with that positive energy, we also had the energy of Algiz and Othala. And all of them deal with, like I said, extremely powerful and potent and positive attributes, such as your soul, optimism, friendship, aspiration, fortune, protection, protecting others, guarding others, and so on. Connection with the gods, success, again, fertility, potential, freedom, male fertility, and all that goes with that, if you know what I'm saying. Both good and bad. Male masculinity. And Othala deals with your heritage, your property, you know, and all these things. They deal also with success in courtroom situations. So for those out there who may be going through this, I know I will be soon, that you know, these could be very, very reassuring for you when you go in there, regardless of what the odds look like right now. You know, if you believe in the Norse gods and goddesses, or if you believe in your ancestors, call upon them and invoke some of this energy. The energy of Hagalaz for your protection and for, you know, for success. And Ingwas for freedom. And, you know, all the things that go with male masculinity and so on. Whether you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. You can still step into those male attributes. Othala as well, to get what is rightfully yours and increase your abundance. It's also a form of safety. Now we had 2 neutral runes, actually 3 neutral runes this week as well. So we had 3 extremely positive ones, and 4 if you want to count Fehu, which is the overall energy for the week. So we need to count that, which again is all extremely positive. Again, with the god and goddess twins showing up here in our reading, that's pretty potent. That's very, very positive. Okay, so there's a sign there dealing with your wealth and fertility, again with material abundance and fulfillment. All these things are yours. And the 3 neutral runes that we got were Isa, Hagalaz, and Nauthiz. Now Isa, as we've seen many times before, means basically rigidity, frozen, stasis, energy loss, ill feelings, turning inward. You know, it's, you want to seek clarity in everything else. It's basically you're frozen because you're in a state of mind where you're not able to make a decision. You're indecisive or something of that nature, or potentially you could be. Okay, that's what that's telling us about. And Hagalaz is telling us that things could always get worse, even though things may not look good right now. And again, I can attest to that from my own life. You're going to have risks, you're going to have delays and hurdles to get over, but there could always be a far worse situation, okay? So it's not as bad as it seems. And Nauthiz basically talks about needing patience, looking at omens, talks about, again, obstacles, delays, resistance, but it talks about resistance as it leads to strength. Again, you know, you get a cut or something like that, then you get a scar, and it's much, much harder to damage that particular new scarred over tissue. Well, it's the same thing, you know, you develop kind of a scar on your soul as well as you go through some of these things that toughens you up, you know, it makes you more impervious to the outside forces, because there's a lot of evil people out there, you know, or people who are succumbing to evil energy and attributes and things of that nature instead of trying to do what's right. And you're forced to live in this world where those kinds of things are very prevalent. So, you know, when you go through these types of ordeals, it makes you better equipped to handle whatever it is to come. Okay? So even the neutral energies, again, are not bad. They're just telling us that, you know, life is going to provide, you know, both good and bad, you know, hills and troughs. It's going to basically sometimes seem, you know, like insurmountable barriers before us, but there's no such thing, really. And we have plenty of energy that is in support of us to not only get through these things, but to actually come out the other side, you know, smelling like roses, so to speak. Really very successful. Now, with that being said, let me... Okay, let's go ahead and pull for today. It's going to go ahead and pull for our present energy. All right, let's see what we have in store for Friday. What is the energy for today for my collective, please? And thank you. What is the energy for Friday? You. Going deep. Oh. Pull out this. And we got a good one. We got another god showing up. This is the god Thor's rune. This is Thursas. Okay, the god of thunder. Now this basically talks about protection as well. It actually translates out to being giant, but it one of the key words for the meaning of this rune is protection. That's what Thor's job is, really. It also talks about luck, warnings, counsel, and you know, all positive energies and so on. Again, so we have yet a third god showing up. Let me write this down. And that's good news. So we're off to a good start for Friday. Let's see what kind of influences we have here. Again, Thursday has one of the most powerful runes in the deck, as you might imagine, as Thor is one of the most powerful gods, you know, in the pantheon of gods, the Norse belief system. So what are some of the influences that we have for the collective today? Some of the influences for today, please. And thank you. All right. Influence. Nauthiz again. Well, for the pre-Friday pull that I pulled, and this is what this is, it's just really amazing to me sometimes. On the pre-Friday pull I did on Sunday. So I pulled for the entire week on Sunday, as I always do, to see the advanced energy in general, right? And then we hone in per day. Well, for today, it was Nauthiz. And then as an influence I pull out, Nauthiz. Well, here's my little herd of friends, my little buddies. There must be 30 of them, man. Ducks, chicks, geese, the whole freaking flock, man. They're my little pals. All right, and to recap, you know, Nauthiz talks about your needs, having patience, looking at omens, possible stress and obstacles, delays in your way, resistance that leads to strength. So again, it's not a negative energy, it's a neutral energy. It's just telling you that you have some of these things that are going to probably occur in throughout your day, but you have more than enough energy to get through this. You know, it'd be nice if everything just flowed the way that we all want it to, but that's not very realistic, is it? No, it doesn't hurt to dream, though. All right, so another influence, please. Another influence for today. What's another influence that we have for Friday, the 13th? Friday the 13th. Wait, you guys think I have some food or something? These guys came running and they heard me shaking the friggin' deck here. Unbelievable. We have Nauthiz again. Nauthiz was yesterday's energy. Alright, I stir these things up pretty darn good, you know, before we even start. And I do it again as we're doing this. So, Nauthiz, I'm sorry. God darn it. Nauthiz is what we just had. This is Hagalaz. Hagalaz, it looks like an N, doesn't it? Hagalaz is, again, talks about limits and upheavals, risks, delays. So we're getting a lot of those advanced warnings today. But, you know, even though you got trials, tribulations, and testing that this is warning us about, again, we have the most powerful rune in the deck at our disposal today for our energy for Friday. Again, Thursdays. So we have Nauthiz and we have Hagalaz again showing up for our influences, both the runes that we got yesterday. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull for our future. What is our future energy for today? That's anytime between now and midnight tonight, basically. Since I'm pulling daily, I'll be pulling again tomorrow. And on Sunday, I'll pull another free week. Alright? Alright, so. Give me a future energy for today for my collective, please. Future energy for my collective today, please. Future energy. What do we got here? God, I wish these would go away. We have Esau yet again. The gods are definitely telling us something, all right? So Esau again is stasis, frozen, frigidity, consciousness, means ill feelings, a need for focus, a need for privacy. It means turning inward, when that's always good advice anyway. No matter how busy your day is, you should always try to find, if you can, an hour sometime throughout the day or night when the kids are down, your wife is reading her book, or your husband is watching TV, or whatever the case may be, and go meditate, or go reflect. That's where you get your answers, okay? And it's not always easy. And if you can do it in nature, even better still, okay? There's something about connecting with nature that empowers your abilities to tap in. So I'm going to be meditating yet again after this at some point. Right now it's getting a little bit warm. It's freezing cold this morning, man, but right now that sun is baking me. So I was playing my guitar for about the last 2 hours, I thought I'd change up my routine a little bit. And that's a creative force too. It gets your creative juices flowing. So anyway, there you have it, you guys. So overall energy is still very good, but it's just reminding us again that we are going to have obstacles. We are going to have delays. We're going to have hurdles to overcome. But again, we have the twins that showed up, Frey and Freyr. And again, they're filled with potent energy. Plus, we also now have, on top of that, the God of Thunder showing up for our present energy. You couldn't ask for a more powerful energy to aid you in whatever it is that you're having to deal with right now. So in other words, you can get through this. No matter how bleak it may seem for you personally, it's not the end. As long as you persevere, you will be blessed. And that's kind of what this is all about. It doesn't point out to anything specific for today as far as abundance or, anything of that nature. But again, with the God twins, goddess, God, and, Thor himself showing up. You have two Asir gods, and you have the Vanir god, Thor. You've got the whole spectrum of spiritual energy from the Norse perspective right there watching over, guiding and protecting you. If you believe in that, you certainly can call upon that energy to help you out today. And I wish I had something a little more concrete for you. I am going to start introducing some oracle cards and things of that nature for you, to see where you are in terms of love, see where you are in terms of other questions that may be needing to be. In fact, you know what? I actually got those with me. I pulled them out of my card today. So let me see if I can find them. Let me go ahead and do that for you guys, just to add a little bit of flavor to this, okay? All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull from a Hidden Truth Oracle. That's what this is. We're going to see if we can get a little bit more advice for you guys out there. Okay? A little bit of advice to be shared with my collective, please. A little advice to be shared with the collective, please. A little advice for the collective. What does the collective need to hear? What advice can you share for my collective, please? What advice can you share for my collective? Alright, let's pull this out. Say, I bury myself in work to forget you. Okay. Well, maybe somebody out there that you're separated from, or if you are together with somebody and you spend a lot of time at work. I mean, this is generally associated with people that are not necessarily together, so I would assume as a result of that you probably are separated from somebody, but they are thinking of you. In fact, they're doing everything in their power not to think of you, is what this is implying. So, you know, if you are separated from somebody and you're wondering if they're thinking about you, this is giving you, you know, a definite reassurance that they are, even though they may not be showing it. Okay? Now, I also have a love oracle. So for those of you who are single and you're wondering about love, I'll go ahead and pull one of those as well. We'll see. Okay? Love oracle. Okay. I don't use these a whole lot, so they're still really stiff. I've broken them all in at some point, though. I mean, I did the typical where you know, you get your energy to match with the energy of the cards by sleeping, or, you know, placing them under your pillow as you sleep for a couple of nights. Generally, at least a week is what they recommend. So, and I did that for about 2 weeks. So we're looking for love messages for my collective, for my singles out there. For my single Vikings and Vikingettes out there. What kind of love messages do we have for the collective, please? Alright. Let's see what we got here. Seduction. Well, that certainly goes with the two gods and goddesses, Frey and Freyr. So seduction, that's pretty darn good for a weekend, right? Looks like you might be getting some of that good this week. Says attraction, flirting, dating, hooking up, temptation. But we have some third-party interferences. Yeah, I had something like that happen to me as well. It's never a good feeling, I know. You know, sometimes third-party influences don't mean necessarily another man or another woman. It could be a job, like the last card just intimated. It could be anything that interferes with your relationship. You know, that's what this actually means. Although it could actually mean that there is another person that's involved and they're trying to interfere. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're into that other person. That other person may be interfering with them or getting between you two. So just keep that in mind as well. So it looks like, you know, there's somebody out there thinking of y'all, and it looks like they want to be a little closer to you, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. And in case you were wondering, maybe they weren't saying much. There you go. There's your confirmation of that. Both decks. Two different decks. All right, collective. With that being said, I wish you all the very best. And I will see you all again tomorrow. And I'm going to try to make these better as we go. I have limited resources available right now. I'm trying to make the best of what I got. And then, you know, really tap in with this so I can give you guys better direction. So far, the direction I have is that there are definitely things that are coming between you and your absolute happiness. But you have all the energy at your disposal to get there. So just remember that. And again, my door is always open too, in terms of if you need somebody to talk to. Okay? So with that being said, I wish you all a wonderful weekend, and I will see you again tomorrow morning. Bye.